for that. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Jodi Wang, who's the Community Relations Officer at the Toronto Catholic District School Board.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. And I would just like to let you know, I'd like to speak on a personal note. When I came here this afternoon, I didn't have any expectations, but listening to the speakers, the wonderful speakers, and really experiencing the exercises, it just really opened my mind and also freed me up. And when I called one of our schools, Blessed Cardinal Newman, where are you? There you are. And I was thinking, this is good for our students. And, never did I know that this is good for me, So when I was attending the sessions, it's just like, wow, this is freedom. It's just like, let it go. Because when I came here, it is true when they said, when one of the speakers said that being here, right here, right now is a convergence of so many factors. And which is really true. I have to even sacrifice, some of the things just to be here, right now. But when you are here, when you're in the moment, you are just really free, and you let go of everything. And when I had that exercise of walking, which I did, and I just released my high heels, and then just let it go, and I just noticed so many marks on my feet, and then I thought I need a pedicure, things like that. So being in the moment really makes you feel like what is important and what is really something that you have forgotten. So I have a 16-year-old son who is very much plugged in, as you say, and he always has this fear of missing out, And sometimes I'm also like that, from my office to my home. I check my computer, what else I need to do. But then today I realized that really I am actually missing out the finer things in life. When you just stop, breathe, take time to really appreciate your surrounding, smell the flowers. And, I can't believe actually that now I'm appreciating more and more what my grandparents used to tell me. When they say, relax, why are you so worried about so many things? Just relax and God will take care of everything. So simplicity is also very important. The less you have in life is also very important. So one thing that I'd like to leave to our audience today, especially to our students, is really to take that 1 minute time. And I actually ask, how many minutes, how many hours or seconds or minutes do you really need to unplug? And the speaker just said, a minute is better than nothing. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all our panelists. Now it's your turn. Okay, we have a couple of minutes to raise some questions. So you can raise a question or a comment directed to either a specific person in the panel or general, and see who would like to answer. Who wants to start? Who's the brave person who would like to start off? Yes? If you were in my class, I would actually be picking on people. This is the way I conduct discussion. I don't let my class sit there. Yes? Anybody want to start the question or comment? Yeah? Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. I find that the students who have some mindfulness in their life already are quite welcome the experience in a more formalized way. I find the students who would truly benefit are the ones who leave to go to the washroom or create a kerfuffle so that they don't have to participate. Is there anything that can be done to make it more attractive for them to realize that they would truly benefit from it?
Are you directing this to any specific person? Okay. I'd like to invite our representatives from the school boards if they want to Anybody want to?
It's funny
take
you
a
say
crack at
that because
Go ahead.
Ashley and I had this conversation in the hallway. And we said, wouldn't it be great if, before class started, that we had some exercises that teachers engage students to get them prepared. Now, how many students wouldn't mind, 5 or 10 minutes before you start the class to de-stress? Put your hands up. Okay. And I think, you'll realize that, if you start off a session with a lot more ease, the focusing will increase. I'm sure you would agree. So I would say, one of the strategies would be to shift that paradigm, to look at that, cultural relevancy, utilizing the tool of Asian wisdom and traditions as an entry point to commence the activity in classrooms.
Please.
I would just add to that I think it's really important that we need to be very explicit with people. And so the more that we can be explicit with students around what we're doing, the rationale for it, the science behind it, I think that goes a long way to helping people to understand why we're doing things. The same way in schools we focus on learning goals and success criteria for curriculum pieces. I think we need to do the same in terms of these other attributes that we're thinking about. So if meditation is something that we're going to introduce, we have to share with students the science behind it, the rationale behind it. And it's as simple as, I was just had the beauty of going to a conference just the other day, and a brain and learning conference, and one of the speakers spoke about the fact that most people can engage in an activity for 45 minutes or so, but need a 15-minute break. And ideally, that would be a break outside. And for students, that means, the opportunity to connect with others and to do something physical, but just a break every 45 minutes or so to share those things with our students. I think the light would go on for them in terms of, I would react very well to that. And when people know, I as a student, anyone as a student, I think when we know what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it, we are much more apt to engage in it.
Okay. Another,
if I may, from my perspective as a principal, it's really about helping my teachers engage kids, engage them in what they're doing. Everybody has a different starting point. Everyone has a different entry point into an activity. Sometimes at the younger kids, we're looking at sometimes just having the expectation that it may be more independent, then it's parallel, and then it's somewhat engaging, meaning with the group, and then sometimes they're all the way in. But everybody has a different learning style. Trying to figure out what that is, getting them to take risk and feeling safe, and then getting them to achieve. And you'll find the more that they're achieving, the more that they're engaged, the less breaks they're taking. How many times have you done that yourself? When you're so into something, you don't even want to take a break. That's what we need to get to, and that's what we're trying to develop in our classrooms.
Thank you. Another comment or question from somebody? Okay, can I ask a question then, if you don't mind? I've got 2 kids in high school. I'm just wondering if there's, I'm an immigrant here. One of the most beautiful things, of course, about Canada is the incredible care that is taken concerning how students feel and trying to make them feel comfortable and so forth. But is there a danger of that becoming the sole focus? The whole conversation here is about Asian wisdom, take a break, do exercises, meditate, all essentially unwind, feel good. But is that enough? Isn't it also absolutely essential to make students understand that there's a real world out there where you actually need math, need reading, and that there's no shortcuts. You need to do very hard work to accomplish this. What I've seen from my kids is the classes they are less stressed about are the ones that have very rigorous teachers, very well organized, clear, whereas the ones who focus much more on, making you feel well, etc., become too stressful because there's not much education going on. How can you resolve this?
Is that for me?
Yes, that's for you.
The thing is, I'm going to be consistent. It is about achievement. But I worked in a lot of inner cities, and we had this conversation. I worked in a lot of inner city schools. And sometimes in inner city schools, even though we're doing cultural relevant and we're bringing... And cultural relevancy is not just the celebration of just... certain celebration days and just eating together. It goes deeper than that. It's about characteristics. It's about taking the time to think. And so, how do you get high achievement when you have so many different cultures, especially like that in a Toronto inner city school? The great thing about it is you do have so many different cultures, and everyone can take risks. Let's take learning English. A lot of students come and they don't have any English whatsoever, and they're embarrassed to speak and try their new acquired language. Well, when you have so many different cultures doing it, with so many different accents, all of a sudden it's not that funny. You actually can try, and it's okay. You're not embarrassed. And you see all kinds of other kids taking risks. And our job is, yes, to make sure that you feel safe, make sure that you're in a good environment to learn, but at the same time that you risk take, and you achieve, and you push the limit, and you learn how to read, and you learn how to write. And as you do that, through acquiring language, acquiring your math skills, both those things combined will give you a lot of choice in your future. And sitting here in this auditorium, if you're already at university here at York, you're moving on. Mr. Abdullah has a lot of cultural capital. He works with his kids. Some parents in my neighborhood cannot. They hold down single families or hold down long hours. So in our system, we don't want to just take care of you. We want to take care of your achievement. And you are safe in our schools, but we want you to take chances, and we want you to open up to us, and we want to engage you. That is more important. So sometimes, and I'm going to tell you the difference between a good classroom, the difference between a classroom that just looks like everyone's having fun to a classroom that is really engaging and people are really doing a critical thinking, problem solving, creative, applying past knowledge. They could look exactly the same, but one is really driven and focused, and the teacher knows what's going on, and the kids know what it does, what they need to do to achieve, and it's not a secret. And the teacher takes responsibility for all of you to achieve. If you all get an A, the teacher actually has done their job. Because if it's just status quo and we just have a bell curve, then things really haven't changed much. So that is our responsibility, achievement.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah, just to add to that, sometimes there seems to be this conflation that takes place between the person feeling good and not being productive. I want to dispel that myth, and I'll say that within this context. If one feels good about themselves and they're able to generate a positive mental attitude and they have specific goals and objectives to meet, and if the educator is facilitating those goals and objectives, it makes it a little easier for the student to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is not necessarily a train coming at them. Within that particular context, when we look at critical thinking skills, people are motivated based on their passion to do things. And any student will take night to make day if they're motivated to do something because they have an engagement, a keen sense of engagement and interest in moving their agenda forward, regardless of whatever it is. That passion will always carry through. And so it is not a matter of compromising feeling good. I want people to be feeling good. I want students to be feeling good about themselves. But I want them to keep the tenacity of purpose of the objective in mind, looking at the vision of why they're there in the first place. What is your objective? What are you going to do 5 years from now? Where are you going to be 10 years from now? What are you going to achieve here, there? That kind of game plan I'm very interested in. And if it means that I've got to develop you to feel good, to get to that goal, and that's the